almost a half a day for me. I've been busy since early this morning. But I'll tell y'all what I'm thinking right now. You know, when you walk with God and you know, God has taught you well, and then when He teach you well and you know better, and then He'll give you a chance to do it over if you didn't do it right the first time. You say, all right, go back and do that over. And then I'm just thinking about this, right? He teaches you, then He gives you a chance to grow, and then His expectations of you is to present it right, because you've been through the process of trial and error. Now you know Him well enough to know that you got to do it the way He said, otherwise you're gonna be you know, you're gonna feel something. Because one thing that He does, He chastens. In other words, He will bring correction to those He loves. Because if you represent Him, I'm gonna tell you right now, He's in love with you. But let's just say you know what God requires, but because you don't see Him, you still want to try. You just want to try because, you know, you've never seen Him, and then you want to use this excuse like, well, maybe there wasn't none of God that told me to do it like that. Or, you know, that kind of, just start thinking of ways to work around what you know He expects of you, because you have had a relationship well enough to know that I know what God requires, your conscience, and then you just know you can tell by your outcome when you know that you've done something you should not have done, especially when you know better. And to know better means you already know as soon as you did it, you should not have done that. Let me tell you something. When God has taught you well and He's went over this and rehearsed it and gave you more than one chance to get it right, He'll let you know that I gotta pinch you, man. When God trains and then you know Him, if He pinch you, you're going to know you were not pinched by a man. I'm talking about that thing is so painful. That thing is so painful until it's like you file bankruptcy, and then they put you on probation. Tell you that you can't holler buy anything. I don't know what they do today, but you know, you can't buy nothing, and then every time you go somewhere, fill out a credit thing, they make you charge you a little bit more, or make you feel like you just go through all the changes, make you feel like, you know, you're a criminal. Okay. It's not God's intent to make you feel bad, but it is His intent to correct you. And what I found out, when He said, I gave this word to my sons and my daughters, that they will prophesy, meaning that they are going to tell you the things that are to come by His word. Not by your feeling, but going back to that correction and that chastisement, chasing. In Him there's neither male or female. What am I saying? If God has to correct you, He's not going to ask you whether you male or female. Oh, I better not pinch Brenda this hard because she a girl. Ah! Ooh! I know what I'm talking about. And hell ain't going to have a place for male and female. I don't want to go to hell. I ain't taking no chances. I'm not taking any chances to see whether or not God is real, or God ain't like that. Who can do that? You do not have to go to hell. I don't want to go to hell. And I'd rather live this life knowing that I got a good life in this world and in the world to come. Because if God correction to those that He loves hurts. And the only reason why He trying to get you to remember what He said, because you're not thinking. And so sometimes he has to give you some, slap your hand. So you remember that I'm not playing. I got use for you. You know, when Moses circumcised that first boy, and then that second boy, his wife, for whatever reason, that one of them boys wasn't circumcised. And then when God was almost to kill Moses, you know, the way I see it is Moses circumcised that first son. Go in Genesis and look at the word and see what happened. But some kind of way, when they were on their way to carry out God's assignment, and Moses' wife was with him, and God almost killed Moses until his wife said, "You bloody man," and she's, you know, she went in there and she threw that what it took to get that boy, to let it know that that boy was circumcised. Now that God held back his wrath. I can see that as a conversation as Moses was saying, I don't feel like arguing with this woman over this circumcised. I just ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do my I don't feel like it. And so Moses decided that from the conversation, it seemed like Moses just said, I ain't feeling it. And so since Deborah, who was that Moses' wife name? No, what's her name? Anyway, his wife said, and she went on circumcised that boy and threw that foreskin, that part of the flesh, threw that flesh out, and God held back his wrath. And what God was saying to Moses, but boy, I ain't playing with you. I'm not playing with you, because I'm going to deal with you. But if I have to deal with you as close as you and I going to walk, if I got to whoop you to make you understand I don't play, you better recognize I don't play. So what I'm saying is, when we know better, in other words, your doctor has told you can't have this and you need to lose 40 pounds, and you still going to ignore all those God-given people giving you instructions and to live. Those are people that God has put in this planet to help us. I don't know why we think that, you know, people that tell us to do the right thing are not ministers of God. They are ministers of God. But then you go on and you don't listen. And because God loves you, because, you know, maybe you ignorant of understanding that you don't have to, well, a clergy call it, get a truth from God. Get the truth from God. And then he started pinching you. He pinch you so until you realize, don't play with me. I'm using you. And the goodness that I'm using you, don't forfeit it for slightly disobeying me. Because I don't want you to go to hell. I don't want nobody to go to hell. That's what the word is saying. He said, so if I pinch you, know that I love you. And that means I'm only trying to keep you out of a space that I don't even want you to go through there in life. Because in hell, there's neither male or female. There's neither male or female in hell. You better get that together. Ain't gonna be no, it's not gonna be no, you ain't gonna run things down. I'm telling you right now, you are not gonna run things. You better chance it out with God and just chance him. Take the time to see whether or not he's God. Start doing things right. Let me tell y'all another thing. When I talk data to some, okay, I want to talk about the sexual, you know, what we do when it come down to free anything you want to do and all that stuff. Let me give you a small category that I've been thinking about. There is online, you got to be very careful. The last time I checked it, the population of women having babies has dropped tremendously in the United States. Guess who has the leading population in birth rate? The last time I checked it, the leading country having babies and their population has decreased just slightly, if any. Guess who it was? Egypt. Egypt's, the last time I checked, had the highest level of babies being born. That was a no-brainer to me. How in the world is Egypt got the strongest population of people being born, boys being born, girls being born, boys? Check it out now, boys. When I did the data and I saw where Egypt was, and I ran the data on the United States because that's where I live, then I said, okay, why are we decreasing? Because we have put ungodly laws in place. And you think that data is not going to show itself? When death in itself takes away a man, I'm going to focus on the boys, because I'm going to focus on the boys. Let's say everyday death, old age, and some sickness. That's going to slow the data down of birth. Then let's just say some people just can't produce. A man can't produce, just can't have babies. That's a percentage. Now always remember, your military and your power, it's got to come from that male to fight against other countries. All right. Then you got those eunuchs who just don't want to deal with a woman having a baby. That's a percentage. And then we got laws we put in place, and we tell a man you can choose to be a man if you want to. And that brought that data down, and that thing coming down like it's just. And I said, well, you don't understand, where is your military force? Where are your babies coming from? You put Egypt back in place. The last time I checked. You go back and check me today. I ran that birth rate. When my cousin died of AIDS a few years ago, I got interested in knowing how many people are really dead. While we celebrate that it's our choice. You can take it, and it is. But the verdict is out. Guilty. And we are going to suffer needlessly because we have not turned to the Father to get instructions and said, Lord, is it all right? Because God's instructions are not based on our emotions. He said, I'm telling you, the only bed that's not defiled is between a husband and a wife. I don't care how many factors you bring in to say, I just can't help it. The word says, the judge says, the God I know says, the only bed that don't stink in my nostril is a man and his wife. And then you got to be careful. Is that your wife? Run the data. Because we can relax in every area. Are we strong as a nation to fight against a nation that's got more men? You know, even though we got women that you can't fight against a man. I don't care if you put that law in place. You are not stronger than a man. Watch your data. It's plummeting. We are a nation that could be much stronger. But we got to turn back to God. God ain't never hired anybody lazy. If you too lazy to do what the word said, he said, I'm going to cast you out of my sight. And oh, Lord, all these folks that's collecting money in his name, I'm scared of you. You bold. You're bold. I see people telling me, I got my seminary degree. You better get that word like a child and go in like a child. Because all I'm saying is, wait, hold up. You don't want to go to hell. Read the book of Lamentation. When God brought judgment on Israel, And it was one man that cried out and said, Lord, I was wrong. And the Lord was right there. That's the one I want right there. I'm not playing, says the Lord. He said, it ain't going to be no male and female. When I thought about it this morning, I said, neither male or female. We better take our country back. We better fall on our knees. I'm telling you, if you stop producing babies, your military is already weak. I'm saying, I look at all the, let me tell y'all something. When you're driving and your gas hand is telling you I'm getting ready to close out for the day because you got to put me on E, don't keep riding and passing all them gas stations and still think you're going to get to your destination without refueling. I'm telling you now. Don't come at God sideways, you know, I'm on like old Balaam did. Don't come in God, he's going in the ways of Balaam. You got to get the word to understand all these names if you don't know who I'm talking about. Balaam, B-A-L-A-A-M, I think. That guy that Balak told the king, said, I need you to curse Israel. He said, boy, you can't curse Israel. And that donkey started talking to him. You better find all the word that you can. In him, to be separated from God is crazy. All them scriptures we done told to pieces. God said this. You can say what you want to say about me. You can screw my scriptures up if you want to, but I'm only going to do exactly what I said. You can play around with me if you want to. You can feel like you above me. I'm still going to do what I told you I put in writing. So I just stopped by to tell you. And I'm not just talking because I'm trying to be heard. I'm telling you out of the experiences I had with God. When I start touching on things and around things God's gonna told you. Woo. God brought correction to me about how I was eating. Then I went to the doctor this morning. Then I started asking the doctor the question. You know, do you think God was like, what you asking that doctor? I already told you.